There's a very common mistake people make when using EBITDA to calculate whether they can afford to buy a business or the viability of buying a small business. And in this video, I'm quickly going to tell you what it's about. But before we get there, my name's Cully. I moved to Canada, Vancouver in 2021. It is now 2025, and I've decided that this year I'm going to buy my first small business. And I'm inviting you along for the journey. I've never bought a business before in my life. I am an entrepreneur. I've always owned my own businesses. But I'm going to learn how to buy a business this year because you hear all the gurus saying that's what you should be doing. So let's give it a try. I've got no experience, and what's the saying? Follow the man that's searching for the truth and run from the one that's found it. So come along for the ups and downs. If you are interested, subscribe to this channel, hit the bell so that you can always be updated when I upload a new video. All right, so now let's talk about EBITDA. For those of you that don't know, EBITDA stands for earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. And that's a very common number when used to calculate the price of a business. So you would often find they would go a multiple of the EBITDA. So they would go, the business has an EBITDA of $100,000 and we're working on a multiple of 4. So we are charging $400,000 for the business. Very, very common. Now, the misconception that often happens is that you look at that number and you go, okay, if the business has an EBITDA, in other words, a free cash flow or money, $100,000 a year, that's what the business makes. If I buy the business for $400,000, I should be able to pay off this business using that money in 4 years, right? I mean, that sounds logical. It's not though, because the reality is that EBITDA is earnings before taxes, interest, depreciation, and amortization. And the fact of the matter is that you are never going to get away from taxes. Now, in British Columbia, on smaller businesses, the taxes are a little lower. It's only 11% on the first $500,000, or if you're below $500,000. But still, so if you have an EBITDA of $100,000, you're still going to have to pay the $11,000 tax, which means you will only have $89,000 left to pay off on the loan if you use the loan to buy this business. And then, of course, if you took a loan, you're going to have to pay interest on that loan. Now, that interest, I spoke to a guy at the BDC not too long ago in this last week, and he reckons that you're looking at between 9 and 10% interest if you borrow money to pay off that loan. Now, on a loan of $400,000, that's, I guess, about almost $60-something thousand the first year. 10% on 400,000, so $40,000 on the first year. So in other words, you really won't be able to pay off the business loan in 4 years if you have a multiple of 4 and an EBITDA of $100,000. All right, so please subscribe to the channel and follow along on the journey. And for more updates like this, hey, who knows, maybe you also buy a business this year in Canada.